Good guys, my name is Lord Tomo. Welcome again to another Sonic the Hedgehog toy item collector review. As you know, I'm Lord Tomo with the blue steel good old Sonic the Hedgehog. Going to be reviewing a interesting item on par with controversy to an extent, but it is an interesting plush nonetheless. I want to get it to form my own exact opinion on it. I'll bring her out, and before we get to the actual review, I want to first and foremost say that I checked out other people's reviews regarding her. I checked out some pictures as well, and to an extent I had my I guess view or perspective of this particular plushie a little warped to an extent, but nonetheless I want to give it 100% of my focus on it and see what pros and cons, if at all there were any. Now I want to say this straight out of the bat: the plushie itself, the execution or the inspiration isn't bad, but the particular designs and mechanics they used in terms of how they want to proportion this particular plush, bits and pieces weren't the best. Now that being said, I'm going to go straight into the actual plush as I normally do. It is made by none other than Great Eastern Entertainment, and I will give you my honest to God feedback to it. And other reviewers, they're a bit I guess side fencing it, or some of them pros, some of them cons, but nonetheless, let's get into it. Now first and foremost, I'm going to say that the actual overall proportion of the actual head of Blaze the Cat, for those who don't know who this character is, Blaze the Cat is well designed. I have decided to look Google search Blaze the Cat and looked at its various pictures and whatnot, and it is well designed. Now there are small bits and pieces that are a bit off-putting, which I will get to it of course, but first and foremost I'm going to say the pros, then eventually when we get to it I will say the cons. So the overall aesthetic design of the head is well done. The ears are extremely well done, extremely well sculptured. There's no cushiony or anything inside it, which is alright. I'm not complaining there. The stitching on this is superb, like every other The actual company that made it is Great Eastern Entertainment, if I haven't already said so. So the stitching on this is superb. Now she does have her Arabian looking forehead crystal thing on her forehead, exactly like the actual game slash comic slash whatever else you read. The eyes itself does encapsulate it quite perfectly in terms of its arc design, and of course you have the actual eyes, which are systematically iron pressed onto the eye socket of it, and you have of course the eyebrows or eyelashes here. The nose itself is well done to an extent. Now what was the off-putting to me, I couldn't put my finger on it until I looked at my previous plush reviews, and it made a little sense. This is one of the major first criticism I have. Now Blaze the Cat, for those who know or may not know, he's always been a serious character in line with Shadow the Hedgehog, but in particular if you look at the actual face, it looks monotone, it looks boring, it looks, let's be real, she looks pretty stupid looking. It doesn't give you that serious vibe to it. It doesn't give you that badass vibe to it, and I couldn't put my finger on it quite well until I checked out the other characters. Now if you checked out my Super Shadow the Hedgehog or even my Rouge the Bat plush reviews, you will notice that the actual mouth is on, depending on how you look at it, on the left hand side or the right hand side. Where my right, your left, I would imagine. So here, but it will be done in an arc form, not a happy form, an arc form facing down. If you don't believe me, check out my Super Shadow the Hedgehog GE Entertainment, and you will see that it's on the right hand side and it's pretty much arced down to give it a menacing, serious, badass look. That's what they should have done with this Blaze the Cat. The fact that they even put it, it's not even stitched on, it's literally a texture. It's like just you put a texture over it, right? Some of the other GEs that they created is like this iron material, iodine material, where it's basically be pressed just like the eyes, but on for the mouth. In this case, it looks like just a black marker was used. So if you rub against it too much, it would obviously rub out eventually, which I'm definitely not going to do. Now, this would be suited so much if it was on the right hand side arcing down, kind of like a reverse smile, and it will give you that serious menacing look, and it won't look as derpy as it looks now. So that's the first criticism. Now the second criticism I have, and this is purely based on the fact that we've never truly had a Blaze the Cat plush. If you look on the side, it looks dorky looking. The muzzle doesn't look like it's extruding out as much as you would think from a 3D dimensional aspect of that of the game or whatever. It comes out in a plush form. Now that's purely a perspective thing. Now if you decide to look at all the Blaze the Cat pictures and whatnot, she's always angled in a specific way, and it gives it kind of this, to an extent, oval I'm just looking at the pictures here, kind of oval aspect to it, whereby this looks like it's more popped out, more prominent than what it looks like here. Now I feel like they could have done it, but at the same time, if they were to push this out a little more, it would look stupid, let's be frank. So it's I feel like it's doing justice for what it's physically possible in a plush without overexerting yourself from the stitching and thus costing more money and costing the plush overall more money. So that's the second thing. There is one more, but we'll get to it as we get to it. You have a little hair, absolutely was superb done. You have a little scrunchie or band, whatever you want to call it, great. As prone to all GE plushes, you have a little string if you want to hang it, great, superb. On the back, of course, you have the stitching, which is superb. So everything in this the head sculpt is absolutely great, phenomenal. No major issues other than the fact that the mouth gives it this very dopey looking, and of course this weird-esque kind of, you can't put your finger on it, but you kind of know what it is when you look at Blaze the Cat's pictures. Now I love the outfit itself. The outfit is done so superbly. It's kind of like a raincoat effect, and it's so done so superb to the point where you have, of course, little added materials there, which goes all around to buttocks and just around and whatnot. And of course you have the little fluffiness, which I think is encapsulated so quite well, and the gloves, which encapsulated what quite well, and it's very symmetrical. So the raincoat, whatever you want to call it, I'm just going to call it a raincoat. I don't know what it's called. I'm sure there's a correct terminology for it. Now this is probably another slight criticism I might have. The hands, Vector the crocodile absolutely is 100% phenomenal in every conceivable way, but this hand design, it just throws you off. You truly, okay, in most of the characterization of Blaze the Cat, she's either doing a hand movement like that, kind of like blasting, or kind of a hand movement like that, or scrunching, right? Now, transitioning that over to a plush form is quite hard. Now, I would imagine they're trying to go for an open palm strike attack, flame attack, which would make sense, but at the same time, can you truly blame GE for, you know, sculpturing the way it is? Like I said, there's only so much you can do when it comes to sewing and stitching and whatnot without exorbitant prices they may, you know, incur for actually trying. So it does justice in how it does it. I would have preferred if maybe one of the hands were open palmed opposed to two, and one of them would be like crunched, like a fist. So one of them would be, you know, fist, and the other one open palm. That would make more sense. But the fact that he has two makes him look like a gangster. You know, like, what's up? You know, that. What's up? That's a horrible gangster thing. So there's that. You know, it isn't. It's a pro and con within itself. It's superb that the fact that they try to do an open palm kind of fire blast shot, but it's con in the sense that you gave it for both hands, which inadvertently makes it look like a gangster. Whatevs. The next thing is the shoes. Now the actual pantyhose or the pants, whatever you call, is pretty well done. The shoes are done phenomenally. You know the word. It's done superb. Let's stick with that. You know, you have, of course, a little fluff around the feet, and the shoes are done sculptured in every conceivable way. Perfect. Done perfectly. Now, this is where I'll get to the tail before I get to the final criticism. The tail is sculpted well, and I think the actual tail itself is done superb. I honestly generally feel this is a great looking tail, and it's well stuffed, and it's well played, you know, it's well done, and it looks superb. Now, straight out of the bat, when you look at it, it looks like he has the biggest thigh gap in between the legs. This is a perspective thing when it comes to looking at the pictures and watching the game and whatnot. But what they should have done, I don't know why they did it, what they should have done was had her legs further in. Now, this is the limitation when it comes to creating this plush. Now, in the actual in the actual game, she seems to have a slender body, and she seems to have slender legs, which makes her look pretty superb in terms of her thigh gap of sorts. It's very smooth, it's very feminine, it's very slender. Now, if you were to translate that over to a plush form, you will need to make the body smaller than the head smaller. It will just look very small. Now, my guess is they're trying to make this in scale to that of the other plushies itself, which is a pro. But the thing is, with the perspective and the limitations of creating this plush, I would imagine to an extent they would have to have a split leg system going on, which from a perspective it looks weird, but the more you look at it, the more you can, I guess, compromise. Mind you, this is the first Blaze the Cat plush, and there's a lot, I would imagine there's a lot of thought, a lot of design, and a lot of things that need to take into place, because they're obviously not mass producing this to an extent where, you know, you can get it, you know, anything. It is mass produced to an extent, but at the same time, you really need to understand that there's a cost involved in this. Now, am I making excuses for it? No. But at the same time, it's kind of one of those, you know, understandable negatives that needs to be said, you know. Now, there's another little, I guess, observable weirdness about this. The fact that her legs are spread so wide, and they're thin, because in the actual game comic and whatnot, it is thin. It looks very weird and manky looking. It looks like she's anorexic. Now, that purely comes down to the design flaw of her, and I'm a little annoyed by it. But at the same time, you can't have her having thick legs like Rouge de Bat. Now, for anybody who's checked out my Rouge de Bat, check it out. Rouge de Bat is to an extent a very bonacious, a very plump character, to say the least. I guess she's meant to resemble, without getting racially, you know, a very well-fed woman, to say the least. That's Rouge de Bat. So her legs are thick, her arms are thick, she's got a big booty, she's got a big bust and whatnot. Blaze the Cat is meant to epitomize the feminine aspect of the actual character itself. So it makes sense why the legs are so thin and short. Now, if you were to have a large, it will completely throw this off, and this will be the biggest negative ever. The fact that they're slender, it kept it true to the actual character itself, which I thought was phenomenal. Of course, being the fact that he has a thigh gap, it kind of gives this off-putting illusion and whatnot. But yeah, but look, honestly, it's a great plushie. It does have, I wouldn't say defects, design choices that I wouldn't have gone for personally. I don't know what went through their heads personally, but I thought the fact that we even got a Blaze the Cat shouldn't be necessarily an excuse to bypass the flaws. Of course it has flaws. I'm not going to sit here and say that it doesn't. But the fact that we have something which I would probably say is 80% on par to the actual characterization of the actual character itself is great within itself. And I think this is truly, I do truly believe this is a phenomenal, you know, a phenomenal plush in every aspect of the word. Now, of course, as I mentioned, it does have flaws, but the fact is, would they which company have you ever seen in the last 20 plus years have they ever created another Blaze the Cat other than GE Entertainment? None other. Now, is to say that are they going to maybe bring a reissue one? If they do, maybe they can address some of the issues. Other than that, this is the best we got, and we should be happy. It definitely adds well to your GE collection if you're collecting those, and it looks superb. And the fact that you even have a Blaze the Cat is great. Now, Blaze the Cat has never been a character that's been my favorite, but it's a character that makes sense, and it's a character that's it's an archetypal character that it's needed in the universe. But truly, I do think it's a great plush. It is. You can buy it on eBay, Amazon, whatnot, and I enjoy it. Like once I have it on fully display with my other GE, it will blend in more well, in my honest opinion, than anything else. So eBay, Amazon, whatnot, I got it for roughly about $30. Is it worth the price? Really, it comes down to you. I think it is, simply because it's one of a kind, and who knows that maybe this will become obsolete, and if it becomes obsolete, it may become rare. Who knows? And rarity, once that obtained, simply because it is currently out. Check it out. You can still buy them, of course. Great Eastern Entertainment. Oh, I forgot to mention, they put the hashtag on the back part of the actual cape, raincoat, whatever, in the hashtag. And of course, the general criticism that I always have to say, it is Blaze the Cat, not Sonic the Hedgehog, but I understand why they do it, to basically say, hey, look, it's a Sonic the Hedgehog character, please buy it because blah 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 blah. So yeah, that's that. Anyway, guys, tell me what your thoughts on this plush. Do you agree with my criticism? Do you think I'm off The par, do you think it's poorly made? I really think it's alright. No major issue. Anyway guys, take care, speed on. Until next time. Peace.